Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, October 27th, 2015, Game 1 of the 111th World Series concluded. Kansas City won at home 5-4 in the 14th inning. We're going to review the game. I want to expose further how the world of professional sports is completely rigged. A lot stood out about last night's game. The big highlight, though, or the big storyline, was the mini power outage. And if you missed my earlier video from just weeks ago, it's called the 111th World Series Blackout Power Outage Theory. In this video, I talk about a lot of information throughout the season and why I thought there might be a blackout or power outage during the World Series. In this video, I connect the dates September 23rd and October 6th. The power outage last night concluded at 9:23 p.m. local time. Truth Seeker, the work I am doing is on point. The power outage last night wasn't that big of a deal, but I know what all this is about, and it might foreshadow a much bigger one to come. Let me go through all the curiosities about last night's power outage. So from the mainstream write-up, here we go. For about 20 minutes, Fox used the MLB's network international feed and announcers. When the Fox broadcasters returned, play-by-play announcer Joe Buck said, "Truck went out." Remember those words, truck went out. Presumably meaning the power to the network's truck housing production team and equipment. Buck was reading a promo for a new Fox comedy when the power went out and the screen went blue, then black. A slate stating, "We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by," came up. During the delay, Fox went to its studio team. Now, Joe Buck, Truth Seeker, as most of you know, is a complete... I don't even have the word for it. Joe Buck disgusts me. He has no business in the sports studio. He annoys most sports fans. I know plenty of people who turn on the radio and watch the TV at the same time so they don't have to hear Joe Buck. Joe Buck is awful. There's no reason for him to be on TV. The reason he is on TV is because he's a Freemason. He's born into it. His father was an announcer before him. But he knows what's really up. His phrase, "truck went out," is no mistake. Check this out, Truth Seeker. When the power outage happened, the score was 1-1. The count was 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. We're talking about the 111th World Series. It's all centered around New York. New York equals 111. New York is the 11th state. Matt Harvey of the New York Mets was pitching. Matt Harvey wears number 33. In the game, his pitch count was 47 pitches when the power went out. Joe Buck's phrase, "truck went out" in gematria sums to 47. And it wasn't long ago in Super Bowl 47, the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl, that there was the 33-minute blackout. Here's USA Today. Every news outlet acknowledges that the Super Bowl 47 blackout lasted 33 minutes. Now think about last night, number 33 pitching, 47 pitch count, plus all these other numbers, and then Joe Buck coming from the power outage saying truck went out, which equals 47. These are very important numbers to the Zionists and the Masons who control pro sports. Here in the write-up, the outage, which lasted from 9:19 p.m. Eastern Time until 9:23 p.m. Eastern Time. See, it concluded at 9:23, Truth Seeker. I did a video about how there might be a power outage in this World Series and how it might be connected to what happened on September 23rd. I was right. Just like I was right that the Mets would be in the World Series, which I predicted in spring training. The video was up for all to see. Here's another article capturing the big moments of the game. Longest game in World Series history for Game 1. I will show you what's so curious about it. It lasted 5 hours and 9 minutes. Kansas City Royals equals 59 in gematria, just like Toronto Blue Jays equals 59 in gematria. The Kansas City Royals just advanced over the Blue Jays. Then they win Game 1 in Kansas City, 5 hours, 9 minutes. It was the first in-the-park home run in decades. It should have been scored an error, not a hit. It was a complete joke. It showed just how rigged pro sports are. As we covered, the power went out. Look at how they even put out this tweet here and show this from 7:04 p.m., the reflection of 47. The numbers are so important, Truth Seeker. Also, in addition to Fox failing, Google's service Google Fiber failed, which was also broadcasting the game. And just before the game, the starting pitcher found out his father died. So check this out. The final score of the game was 5-4. Baseball in gematria equals 54. A lot like 5-4. ESPN kept putting up images throughout the game. I noticed all night they were 1 minute 4 seconds long, 1 minute 4 seconds long. The game went 14 innings. 14 has a gematria of 104. This picture was from before the game even started. It's it's all scripted, True Seeker. The 14 innings were planned. The words dead and end equal 14. The game ended in 14. Before the World Series even happened on Live with Kelly and Michael, Kelly Ripa said this yesterday. If I was at the game, I can tell you it would be minimally 102 games. It's funny she says 102, Truth Seeker. This is a special number for a lot of reasons. In New York, the World Trade Center attack lasted 102 minutes. Al-Qaeda equals 102. The number also has a history in baseball. I just find it funny she picked to say that. She also said this. She's talking about how long baseball games are. No, I've woken up the next day and I'm still there, and I think, what inning is this? And Mark will say it's the 14th inning, and I'm shrinking surely. They have to call this game at a certain point. You know, pro sports are rigged, Truth Seeker, and they try to put out the hints everywhere. It's no coincidence that Kelly Ripa said this yesterday, just hours before the game. It's all scripted, it's all planned. We're watching a joke when we watch pro sports. We're having our time wasted. In this case, people had 5 hours and 9 minutes wasted of their time. Game lasted 5 hours, 9 minutes. Again, Kansas City Royals equals 59. Last year, the Royals appeared in the World Series for the first time in 29 years. The same thing is true of the Mets this year. The Mets are in the World Series for the first time since '86, 29 years ago. Some interesting things with the stats. But what's more interesting is how just moments before Game 1 started, the starting pitcher for the Royals found out his father had died. Now, this is another common thing in pro sports, people dying just moments before the big game begins. In the past Super Bowl, we found out the part owner of the New York Giants died just minutes before kickoff. This time it was the father of the starting pitcher for the Royals. And let me show you what's even more suspicious about it. The Kansas City Royals pitching staff also had a fellow pitcher, Chris Young, who just had his father die on September 26th. And what's interesting is last night the starting pitcher, who had his father die, he didn't get the win, but who did was Chris Young, who had his father die 30 days earlier. So the beginning pitcher and the closing pitcher for the game both had their fathers die for Game 1 of the World Series. The starting pitcher, his last name is Volquez, which has gematria of 118. In Jewish gematria, the word death equals 118. His first name, Edison, has gematria of 44. The kill number. I really do think these professional athletes to be in high places give the okay on this. I think it shows their loyalty to the gang. They're willing to have their close ones sacrificed, murdered. Those of you ask how the truth never gets out about these sports games being rigged. This is how, because bad people are playing. Dishonest people are playing. People who would have their fathers killed are playing. And that's how these men are in the World Series in the first place. There's a lot of good baseball players in the world, There's no shortage of good baseball players. There's a lot of people who could play in the MLB. There's a lot of people who could play in the NFL. There's a lot of people who could play in the NBA that aren't there. I'm a good baseball player, True Seeker. I understand what's going on in baseball when I watch. The way Game 1 opened up for the Royals, the first pitch of the game by Matt Harvey was a well-grooved fastball right down the middle of the plate. The Royals player hit a deep fly ball to center field. The center fielder could have easily caught it. It was Yoenis Cespedes playing center field, who was traded to the Mets this season. Yoenis slowed up, looked over at the left fielder, acting like the left fielder should have caught it at the last second. Instead, the ball came to the ground, hit off Yoenis' thigh, rolled across the outfield, and instead of it being one at bat, one pitch, one out, it was one at bat, one hit, one inside the park home run is how it was scored by the home keepers in Kansas City, which is a joke. It should have been scored in air. But anyway, it was very obvious that it was a rigged play. It's the way the game was supposed to start. Yoenis is one of these players that has the 33 numbers. Look at that first name, Yoenis. Gematria of 33. Also with the S exception, 42, just like NYC. His life number, being born October 18th, 1985, a date with 33 numerology. Also a date with 113 numerology. Remember the words mainstream and dishonest are 113. His opening play of the game was probably scripted and dishonest. It also went in favor of KC. K, the 11th letter, C, the 3rd. See how Mr. 113 helped out KC with a purposeful, likely scripted error? The reason it was so easily scripted is because it was a well-grooved fastball right down the middle of the plate that any hitter can drive to the outfielder as the leadoff hitter did, and Yoenis should have caught the ball. It was a routine out, really. Instead, he let it hit off his leg in the park home run. I mean, I was just laughing my ass off. I thought, how can anybody be watching this and not know pro sports are rigged? We're talking about the World Series. It's supposed to be the best team, and he makes that kind of play to start the game? No way. And then next thing you know, you got this blackout at 47 pitches. Joe Buck coming back making the coded 47 statement. Here's something else I noticed last night. The camera kept going to Rusty Kuntz in extra innings, the first base coach, former player for the Royals. Look at his legacy, Truth Seeker. He never appeared in more than 84 games in any season during his playing career. Remember, United States of America equals 84. In the 1984 World Series, Kuntz hit a pop fly to second baseman that became the deciding run batted in RBI. So a rare play, won the game. His name, Russell J. Kuntz, sums to 54, like baseball, like last night's score finishing 5-4. United States of America equals 84 and 228. Remember, this guy did this in the 84 World Series, never played in any more than 84 games, Wikipedia points out. Last night, the Mets pitching was, let's see, do I have this up here? What did I do with it? Here we go. The Mets pitching last night, it was the 228th pitch that was hitting for the sacrifice fly that knocked in the winning run in the 14th inning. This is how scripted I think the games truly are, Truth Seeker. I think it's all very well planned out and executed. And it's all very sick, too. This is why I say people need to quit supporting these games. Grown men are being murdered as ritual sacrifice so that younger men can play as overpaid athletes in predetermined sports games. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.